live from the 301, live from the pot. I want to welcome my audience to episode number 159 of Curry in the Pot. I'm your host, I'm your guy, Mike Curry, and I'm back here another episode, man. It's been a little minute since I dropped a little episode, maybe about a couple of weeks ago, but we're here again, and I'm excited, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff has happened, just in the past week or so, man. But I will not be doing this episode alone, and I got my guy here, man. It's been a little while since I had him on. I told him when the new year started, I said, bro, we got to do some more content together, man. It's only right. I said, bro, we got to, man. He's doing his thing. He's dropping episodes weekly. I try to drop weekly, but I'll be BSing sometimes. But he's consistent, unless he announces that he's taking a break. He's consistent. So I will say that about my good man. But we've known each other for a long time, man. We've known each other, I want to say at least 15 years. At least. Probably even longer than that. But I want to welcome my guy. He is the host of the Unpopular Podcast. He drops every Tuesday. You can catch him on YouTube, catch him on pretty much every platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, what you want, Stitcher, bro's on everything, bro. SoundCloud, of course, man. But I want to welcome back my guy, man. Very, very good friend of the show, man. A guy I've known a very long time, Mr. Jalen Hunter. So, Jalen, what's good, bro? How's everything, man?
I appreciate the intro, bro. You laid it all out there. So definitely an honor to be back on the pot, man. I appreciate it.
For sure, man.
That didn't sound right. Be back on the pot. It was definitely I appreciate the invitation, my guy.
No problem, man. How's everything, man? How's your family doing, man? I saw you with your niece earlier, man. How's everything with you, man?
It's a blessing, man. It's anytime, especially these days with COVID and everything, anytime, people around you are healthy and smiling, it's a blessing. So, I can't. It would be weird for me to complain at a time like this. So,
absolutely, sure. That's great, man. That's great stuff, man. So obviously we're here to talk about, the hottest sports topics, man. And, a recent topic we had was a couple of weeks ago, JJ Watt was released, but now he's on a new team, man. He's now a member of the Arizona Cardinals. That's weird to say. You dropped your episode yesterday. I listened to it, but go ahead and give me your quick thoughts on that. I'm going to give mine, but go ahead and give me your thoughts on that, man. What'd you think about the move? I know it probably surprised you because when we heard about the mix of teams, Arizona was not one of the destinations that we heard JJ Watt might go to. So what'd you think about the move?
It's one, shouts out to JJ Watt for the last 3 or 4 years he's been playing injured, except for like maybe one of those years. And he's still able to get a $31 million contract. It surprised me, not the fact that he went to Arizona. It surprised me because you wanted out of Houston to have an opportunity to win a championship. And while I do like, Isaiah Simmons, I like Budda Baker, I like Chandler Jones, I like I like Peterson.
Pat Pete.
Pat Pete. I don't, and on top of that, when you hear that Green Bay wanted you, when you hear that Kansas City was looking at you, when you hear, hell, everybody is going to the Tampa Bay right now. It just surprises me the destination. I understand you're reuniting with Nuke and everything, but good for him. He went to a good team. Don't get me wrong. The Cardinals is a good team. You still have Kyler Murray and that explosive offense, and of course we know the thing that kind of held them back from that, I guess, that second step was injuries and the defense. But I can't even say it was about money, because reports have come out saying that people like the Colts and other teams were willing to offer him more. Now I don't know if those reports are true.
Colts was offering that back, he should have went there.
So that's all I'm just saying is I get that he wanted to leave, and I get that shouts out for him for landing at a spot, and of course he landed at a good spot. But if your main objective was to win a Super Bowl and have a chance to win or a chance to compete, while you went to a good team, I think that they will be better. Like you said, the Colts to me in a situation right now will be better. The Rams could have been better. The Green Bay could have been better. Now, of course, I can't tell nobody where to go, but I'm just saying, if your motivation was to win or compete for a championship, I don't know if the Cardinals was the best place to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all right, for sure, man. I'm gonna say I know the Cardinals are not the best place to go to win a championship. You laid out a couple of destinations: Green Bay, Kansas City. First, I want to say, like you said, man, I'm happy. He got a new contract, he got a new deal, man. You're still getting, 15 mil a year. I can't knock that. The fit with the Cardinals is this is a team that went 8-8 last year. Now they have a couple of teams in their division that are better than them, Seattle and the Rams. Those teams made the playoffs. The 49ers will be back next year. They had a bunch of guys out. So the Cardinals, you can still argue that they're the fourth best team in the division. Yes, they finished in third place this year, but they might finish fourth next year. The 49ers are going to truly benefit from a fourth place schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I think the 49ers can go from worst to first next year, but that's another topic for another day. I just don't, like you said, if you're talking about winning a championship or wanting to go deep into the playoffs, the Cardinals haven't even arrived there yet. So it just doesn't make sense to me.
I'm my fault to cut you off. I will say this. I'll say I understand if he was a little younger. And didn't have the injury history like he had, because when you look at the teams that offered young and we have multiple years, but pretty much have hopefully 2 years to get it right. And I don't know if Kyler Murray has has it in him to get it right within 2 years. Don't get me wrong, still incredible, but nobody looking at Kyler Murray right now thinking to himself, "Oh, that is a Super Bowl contending quarterback." Exactly. So, like I said, I'm really banking on the fact that he said he wanted a chance to win. And when you look up and you have Aaron Rodgers staring at your face, you have Russell Wilson, you have the Colts, and you have Matthew Stafford. It's like it's just a little head scratching. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I don't think he went to a bad team.
Right.
Or something. But the motivation like you say, your motivation is one thing, but it just doesn't. It didn't really, show to me.
For sure, yeah. Because when it first happened, my guy Zeke, Zeke, he texted me. He said, "Didn't he want to win?"
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. I said, "Yeah, bro." He said he wanted to win. And so I don't understand. I mean, I think the Cardinals can make the playoffs, but like I said, the NFC West is the best division in football. It was last year,
hands down.
Exactly. So that's a tough division, and he's in the thick of things. I mean, they do have solid pieces. He's Chandler Jones, the opposite of him. I mean, Isaiah Simmons, as you talked about, Pat Pete, but Buda Baker, but I just don't know, man. I just don't know. But like I said, I'm happy for him. I think he'll bring some tremendous leadership to that team. And we just got to see how it goes. But we just talked about. Go ahead. You got one more? Any final thoughts on this?
No, I'll just I understand why Arizona would do it. I mean, you get a veteran and the leadership like JJ. I understand why they do it. So I think for them, it's a slam dunk. I mean,
for them, it's a slam dunk for sure.
Yeah.
But let's move on. We just talked a little bit about we just talked about the NFC West. Let's talk about Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson. His name has been out there a little bit, man. Stuff from his camp, I guess you can say. Russell Wilson said he doesn't want to be traded, but he said if he was traded, he wouldn't mind going to a couple of teams, including the Bears, including the Saints, the Cowboys, and who's the other team?
The Bears.
The Raiders. The Raiders. Yes, the Raiders. So what you make of that, man? What you make of that news coming out?
Well, first and foremost, when you have a player like Russell Wilson, who every time he speaks out about an organization is glowing, I'm a Seahawk for life, Seahawk. And then now you come to a point where he's frustrated and voicing his opinion. To me, that shows that he didn't just wake up one day and say, "Yo, let me talk to the media."
Exactly.
This to me, he's clearly to me been talking to the organization like, "Yo, look, I'm good enough. We have a chance to win with me. And there should be no reason why I am the most sacked quarterback in like NFL history in a couple years." I understand that some of those sacks are on him, and I think he knows that too. But every year we go into the season, we say the same thing.
Exactly. You say the same thing every year.
The Seahawks have the worst offensive line, and their defense since Legion of Boom hasn't been there. So, and the fact that you still, and of course you have let Russ cook, I get that, but I think the problem with Seattle last year was they didn't make adjustments.
Yeah.
And teams, it's like they didn't make adjustments, but their offensive line was not able to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when you have Chris Carson, who is in and out the lineup for injury, and you want to run it as much, I get you want to run as much as you do if you have Mitch Trubisky in the backfield, or if you have Tyler Heineke or something, but you have Russell Wilson. So I understand why. Not to mention he kind of, now it's not to the full extreme as Deshaun Watson, but he's kind of in the same camp as Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. While we look at the Houston Texans as a organization that can't get it right, quiet as kept. Outside of Legion of Boom and Russell Wilson, what do the Seahawks have to show for them? I mean, you have Marshawn Lynch. I mean, but other than that, they haven't really done much. And
it's just been a couple of playoff appearances, and getting bounced early.
And as we've seen year in and year out with Russell Wilson, who nobody questions and nobody argues, is he a top quarterback? There's a reason why nobody really puts them, even when they were like in the beginning of the season, nobody said, oh, that's a Super Bowl team, because we knew limitations. And I just think the fact that this is coming out now means that he has tried to say it to the organization. They just haven't listened. And they're going to side with Pete Carroll for some reason. Not saying Pete Carroll's a bad coach, but we've seen Pete Carroll hasn't really done much without a solid quarterback or a solid team, hence USC. So it's I understand where it's coming from.
Yeah. I mean, when you spend a first round pick on a guy like Rashad Penny, who hasn't really big, he's not even the best running back on the team. So when you do stuff like that, that's another thing. They also haven't really drafted well lately. I mean, I know they drafted DK a couple of years ago, but they haven't really drafted well.
That's the thing. You draft DK a couple years ago, yet and still, you're still one of the most heavily run teams. Like, you're one of the most run first teams in the league. And it's like, they fired the offensive coordinator because, like I said, you're starting to figure out. That's kind of the same thing to a lesser extent. That's the same thing that's happened in Baltimore. It's like you're hot for a minute, then when teams start to figure out, it's like, oh, okay, what's the second counter? Then you don't have it. It's just like, all right, all it is Russell Wilson dropping back and hoping he doesn't get sacked, but he usually does, or running the ball for Carson, but he's not healthy. So Penny, oh shoot, he's not healthy. So let's ask Marshawn Lynch to come out of retirement. It's wicked, man.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if he'll get traded, but if he got traded, I would like to see it though. I just don't want to see him on the Cowboys. But.
If he got traded, honestly, to me, the best team out of the list that he picked, of course, is the Saints. You have Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and then you have Sean Payton. But number two, surprisingly, I would say the Raiders.
I was going to say the Raiders too. I think I like that fit the best. They got a good offensive line too.
That offensive line is mean. Plus, you got Josh Jacobs if you want to run the ball a lot. You got
Darren Waller.
Like that is it now. Nelson Aguilar. We don't know what you're gonna get from him, but like I said, you got a squad over there. Plus, we need to see how John Gruden fares with a quarterback he actually trusts. Mm-hmm. So that I like that Raiders. I thought that's tough.
That'd be a cool fit, man. That'd be a cool fit. But let's move on to our next topic, man. Alex Smith was saying that he's going to get released. I see the look on your face already. It said the team's going to release him in the next coming days. Mm-hmm. He was due $18 million this year. The move saves $14 million. First, before we get into like the full conversation, man, I fully commend Alex Smith, for coming back, from that catastrophic injury, man. He came back and I mean, we didn't know what it was gonna look like. Like we didn't know we didn't know what we were gonna get, man. And to come back, the courage and I mean, obviously he didn't look great, but I mean he looked okay. He looked okay, man. And that's a guy that had 17 surgeries. I I never had a picture of what it was gonna look like because I didn't think he was coming back. I didn't think he was gonna get in there. I didn't think he was gonna get in there. A perfect for last year, if everything would have went perfectly, we would have never saw Alex Smith. We would have saw Dwayne Haskins take the next step with the team, and they would have been okay. But a lot of things happened. Alex Smith got back in there. He got an opportunity. I'm also wanted to kind of talk about the GQ article a little bit. He said he felt like he threw a wrench into the team's plans.
Which he did.
Which he did.
It's like when you see anyone, I don't care if it's Alex Smith, I don't care if it's Aaron Donald, I don't care if it's Jesus. You see someone's legs snap like that, and then you hear the stories about surgery upon we had to save his leg. Like nobody expects them to then come back to the football field, let alone. We were grateful. I remember a report came out and there was a topic on talking about, thank God Alex Smith can walk again.
Yeah.
So nobody thought he was going to play in the NFL again. So and of course, and I think that doesn't them throwing a wrench into Alex Smith throwing a wrench into Washington's plans and Washington having his back. To me, that doesn't like it's not one or the other. Like if you don't draft Dwayne Haskins if you have a healthy Alex Smith.
Right, exactly.
So, and you don't trade for Kyle Allen or sign Kyle Allen to whatever deal you sign him to if you have a healthy Alex Smith. Exactly. So when you make those moves, it's like, we didn't think Alex Smith was coming back.
Yeah, they didn't know. Exactly. Nobody knew. Exactly. Nobody knew.
So of course it would throw a wrench. And it's crazy.
I wish we could have heard the stuff he said in the article because it's easy to take stuff out of context. Because when I read it, I was like, dang, why he say that? But like Alex Smith, not that type of guy to say stuff like that. Like you didn't expect that from him. So I wish we could have heard it verbally because I would like to know what type of tone he was saying. Now he wants to play. Obviously, he had to have asked to be released or something. He wants to, I guess, try to go somewhere and compete. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to happen because when he was on the field this year, he wasn't great, man. Like I said, I commend him for coming back. He had 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's not necessarily great. I mean, I guess that's good if considering the situation. But I don't know if a team is going to – hell, teams won't even give Cam Newton the opportunity to they won't even bring in Cam Newton. So why are they going to bring in Alex Smith, a guy who is – I hate to say it, but – basically damaged goods, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't know if he's gonna get an opportunity. I mean, I know he's cool with Urban Meyer. They might bring him in as a backup because they're gonna draft Trevor Lawrence anyways. But what do you think? What do you think is next for Alex Smith?
Here's the thing. Let me first say, shouts out to Alex Smith. Like you said, I second everything that you said. But here's the thing. A lot of this is because what was Washington's weakness last year? Washington's weakness was clearly the offense and clearly the passing game. Of course, you can attribute it to some of the receivers outside of McLaurin, but Alex Smith was not. He was a bright spot in terms of he didn't lose us games, but he didn't.
Yeah, but he wasn't winning them either. Yep. Actually, you lied, bro. He lost them the second Giants.
Yes, on my fault. He threw that terrible interception.
He threw a couple of picks, a couple of costly picks. But besides that, you're right though.
So while I commend and respect everything that Alex Smith does, as we saw last year, Washington, while I'm not saying we're a Super Bowl contending team, we're not that far out in contention year after year, especially with that defense. So when you look at the landscape, and especially with the cap going down, it's like, all right, we have maybe Cam Newton waiting in the maybe. We have Sam, talks about Sam Darnold, talks about Mitch Trubisky. And while I don't like Sam Darnold or Mitch Trubisky, to me, I pick them right now over Alex Smith.
For sure.
And I don't think this is it for Alex Smith. Of course, I do think, like you said, he could. Let me say this. I don't think he's a starting quarterback anymore. But I don't think this is it. Of course, he can definitely play a backup role to maybe like I said, like you said, maybe Trevor Lawrence, or backup role to New England or something. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, you have to look at the production at the end of the day. And to me, that the production you bring at this point, to me, you tell him, look, we don't want you to, I imagine they came to him and said, look, yo, we respect you, love you in the organization, but we are going to move in a different direction. So you either retire or we cut you. I think that's what, as we've heard a lot, that's what organizations pretty much do to players of respect. And he said, he said he had more football in him, so they had to cut him. I don't think that, I kind of went hard on my episode, and I have all, respect for Alex Smith, but at the end of the day, it is a business. Mm-hmm. And when you see Washington and Tyler Heineke almost got them past the Bucks,
Taylor Heineke was balling
in the playoffs, which really is, and that's not saying, oh, Tyler Heineke's that dude. That's showing how close we can be with a solid quarterback. And then you look and you say Alex Smith, and of course we saw what happened with Dwayne Haskins. It's like, yeah, like Alex Smith, you picked the short end of the stick, unfortunately. So
yeah, man. At the end of the day, before we leave off on this topic, it is a business, and not only is it a business, sports is a what have you done for me lately business. Exactly. We've seen it in basketball, the John Wall, Russell Westbrook trade. It's always what have you done for me lately. Like we see it time and time and again. There's literally never ending examples of what have you done for me lately. So before we get off on this topic, so since Alex Smith has been released, they re-signed Taylor Heineke, Kyle Allen's probably back. What would you like to see them do at the quarterback position? Cam Newton is a free agent. You mentioned Sam Darnold and possible trades. We've heard a number of guys. We have Derek Carr and Deshaun Watson. I'm sure if you had the choice, you would say, I want Deshaun Watson. But realistically, is there somebody you would like to see them draft? We heard Marcus Mariota a couple of weeks ago. What would you like to see the Washington football team do at the quarterback position, whether it's via draft, trade, or signing somebody in free agency? What would you like to see?
Well, I don't think we have a lot of trade capital. And we definitely don't have a lot of draft capital at this point. So to me, we would have to either draft or trade for someone that doesn't want it, like they don't want anymore, and they know that they can't get a lot, or get someone off free agency. I'm biased to this a little bit because I like Cam Newton, and I don't think
you love Cam.
I love Cam.
You love Cam.
I don't think he really got a fair shake, especially when you look at the weapons that he was given in New England. I would love to see Cam Newton, especially coming back with Riverboat Ron. That was his, best years. But if we're talking about straight talent-wise, unfortunately, I think that maybe Mitch is a little better talent-wise than Cam Newton right now. And if we can get Mitch, it is what it is. But I want Cam. I want Cam. Sure. But to better the team, maybe Mr. Trubisky. I think we can pull it off. And maybe
I could see Mr. Trubisky.
Maybe if we put a couple draft picks together, maybe put a couple because we're going to have some cat room, especially probably Kerrigan might be gone, unfortunately, or somebody like that. Maybe throwing one of the Alabama boys on the line. We might be able to make a run at maybe a Derek Carr or something like that. It just depends on how sweet the pot can be. I don't see no way heaven or hell unless we give up Chase, which I don't see happening. So I realistically, I think that we can end up getting a Cam or a Mitch. Mr.
For sure, I think that's definitely realistic. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I mean, I think they might give Heineke a shot because he deserves a shot, at least a shot. But I don't think I don't think there's a franchise quarterback on that roster right now. I'll say that.
I mean, I know you try to dress up like Kyle Allen was, but anyone with two eyes mouth 2 years can see that ain't it. So
For
yeah.
sure. For sure. Let's move on. I want to switch gears to the opposite sport. Your favorite sport, and that's basketball, man. We got a lot.
Wizards in 4.
You know what? Hey, since you want to bring up the Wizards, bro, let's go ahead and talk about it, man. I had the standings in front of me a little. All right. The Wizards are 13-20 right now. I went hard on them that time I had IG Live a couple weeks ago, and since then they have improved. They have beaten my Lakers. They have beaten. They had beat the Celtics one time in that span. They ripped off a couple of wins, man. What do you think? I think the Wizards still have a chance at the playoffs, but what have you seen from this Wizards team? What would you like to see? I know you're not high on Scott Brooks either, like I am. What would you like to see though, man? What's been your impressions, rather?
One, I think I would like to see the Wizards not make the playoffs because I don't know what else you can do to realize Scott Brooks might not be the dude.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look, a lot of people want to go back to the OKC days, but when you have a team that has Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook, it's kind of hard to mess up. And I'm not saying he's a terrible coach. But what I'm saying is there's some players that you can reach and there's some players that you can't. And it doesn't seem like he's been able to reach the entire team. Yes, he's reached Russ, that's his man's, but he hasn't, to me, been able to coach up the team like they've been coached. Like, there should be no reason why they're that bad. I mean, I know we don't have that many defenders, but there should be no reason why they're that bad defensively.
Right.
There should be no reason why, they go through horrible scoring droughts outside of Bradley Beal. At some point, I'm not the type of person, as you know, to blame the coach all the time. But there is something to be said where you can go on a win streak when you beat the Lakers and you beat the Clippers, and then you get waxed by the Orlando Magic, or you beat quality teams, like they beat the Nets twice. But then yet you get trounced by Memphis. So it's just like, at some point, I'm not saying it's all on the coach, because I mean, but there's a reason why, they have a 3-guard lineup. They have a 3-guard lineup where they have Russell Westbrook playing the small forward. Like, come on, bro. At some point, something's got to give. Like, I know you're trying to throw stuff at the wall right now, but something's got to give, bro.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, they have made some slight improvements lately defensively. I think Scott Brooks has started to make some adjustments, because early in the season, bro, I was like, yo, what is he doing? Because I remember one game, NATO, he had maybe like 3 or 4 threes in the first half, and he didn't play in the second half. I was like, yo, Scott Brooks,
Troy Brown or whatever his name is, doesn't play.
Yeah, he don't even play no more. He's out of the rotation. He was playing bad, but I don't think it was worth he's not even in the rotation anymore.
But how do you develop a player? Not to mention, you don't send him to the G League. So how are you developing him at all?
He's just on the bench. Yeah,
so it doesn't make sense. Or bang it. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. It's tough. It is tough being a Washington fan, because it's like, of course, as a fan, you think you know better than the coach sometimes. But it's like you sit and look and like, there should be no reason why you have a team led by Russell Westbrook had a team. The next best player was Steven Adams, and they made it to the playoffs. Like, our next best player is Russell Westbrook. Our first is Bradley Beal. Like, come on now. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I do agree with you what you said at the beginning. You want the Wizards to miss the playoffs, because if they do make the playoffs, they're just gonna be a first-round exit. So
and they don't
get a high draft pick. So what really is the point? So I do agree with you in that regard. I also want to talk about the standings as currently constructed right now are a little different, especially on the West side. Yeah. Currently, right now, the number 1 team in the West is the Utah Jazz, and the number 2 seed because they beat the Lakers last night, is the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? I know the Jazz have been a pleasant surprise. I'm not overly surprised about the Utah Jazz because they are a regular season team. They consistently make the playoffs. They've been doing that for years now. But I didn't expect them to be, the number one seed. We're in March and they're the one seed. That's I mean, I expect them to be like, 3 or 4, but because that's where they always been. They always hovered around 3 to 6. They've always hovered around that range. But they're the number one seed, and now the Phoenix Suns are the number 2 seed. What do you make of those two teams? I know they've been, pleasant surprises, maybe not huge surprises to us because we're basketball fans. We saw when we knew when Chris Paul went to the Phoenix Suns that they would be a team. We already knew what that was about. But what do you make of both of those two teams right now?
Well, first, shout out to Monty Williams. We just
and shout out to Quinn Snyder too, man.
Quinn Snyder doing well. That's definitely incredible coaching jobs. But what a lot of people aren't talking about to me is the age of their teams. They're young teams, and you're starting to see teams that are young or teams that either didn't make it far in the bubble or didn't go to the bubble are succeeding right now. Like you see the Celtics can't get right from night to night. We don't know what's going on with the Heat. The Lakers.
The Heat doing all right though, man. They've been playing some good ball lately. They just lost their last game, but they've gotten their act together. But before I was like, yo, what's going on with the Heat?
And then of course the Lakers, outside of Anthony Davis and LeBron, they look pretty old. And they look, but I'm not saying that they're not going to turn it around.
Right.
You have LeBron, AD is going to come back healthy. I still think there's, to contend with. Of course, we got to look at the Clippers and everything. But teams that are young, i.e. the Phoenix Suns, the Jazz a little bit, or teams that didn't go real far in the bubble are outside the Wizards, are succeeding. So I think we're really starting to see, and honestly, a lot of people don't talk about this, and I know this is kind of left field, but shouts out to the WNBA because
I always stand the WNBA.
Yeah, because this was the shortest off season, of course, due to COVID and everything, and we're really starting to see it in the NBA. Like we're starting to see players that are, I'm not saying they're falling off, but you can tell that they're fatigued. You can tell they're tired. The WNBA, like they go from what? They probably got a 1 month off season and they got to go overseas.
Yep.
And then they usually half of them have to quit halfway overseas to come for training camp or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that really that's strength right there. And but we're really starting to see in the NBA. I think the lack of an entire off season is really starting to shine through. But I don't think that. Yeah, like you said. Shouts out to the coaches, and we know Utah is a regular season team. I have to see what they do against a superstar or a couple superstars for a series.
Right.
But like I said, you're seeing teams that are young and well coached are getting it. Like you're starting to see Denver starting to pick it back up. Like you said, the who else? Golden State, they didn't even make it, and they're eighth.
Yeah, they're eighth right now. Yep.
Steph's looking incredible. So yeah, man, I think fatigue is starting to set in, and I think that the All-Star break came at a perfect time, except for the people that's in the All-Star game. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think I never really took that. I never really factored that in. Like I didn't look. Like I know the Suns have a young team for the most part, besides Chris Paul, and I know the Jazz have a pretty young bunch, but I never said, whoa, dang, they do have a young team. And, they're fresh, they're energized. Like the Jazz were smacking teams around. Like, they were smacking teams around left and right, and good teams, too. And the Suns were just doing it a couple of weeks ago. They were smacking teams up, too.
Like I said, if you go back and look at the Jazz's win streak and look at their record so far, look at all the close games. The close games are against teams outside of Golden State, are against teams that either did not go to the bubble or didn't go far in the playoffs, or a young team. Like I said, I'm not saying, of course they won, but like I said, you're really, I think fatigue is starting to come in. As we know, basketball players are all about routine. Yep. And when you throw a player's routine off like that, of course it's going to take
drastic, man. It's drastic.
Like hella drastic. And I think it's taking some time to adjust, but I think at the end of the day, this is all moot point because when the playoffs come, we know who's going to stand up and take it home. So
yeah, for sure, man. I definitely feel for the Lakers and the Heat, man, because they had the quickest turnaround, obviously, man.
And they had the first game of the regular season. Like, wasn't there?
That's a lot, bro.
Game was the first
That's
game.
a lot. Like, so I'm a Lakers fan. I'm not worried at all. You know, to see them lose to, you know, they're just dropping games right now. Like, it doesn't, like, when they lost to the Wizards, like, I don't know if you watched that entire game. When they went to overtime and LeBron just jacked that three, bro was ready to go home. Like, bro, he literally just
it was like another overtime
across half court and just jack. If it goes in, it goes in. But if it don't, I don't care. I'm ready to go home.
Yeah,
like, I see the fatigue, bro.
I will say this though, and this is kind of a side point, but I'm not worried about the Lakers unless they see a team that can shoot the ball.
Yeah.
If they see, I don't know, let's just say they make it all the way to the championship. I don't really see anybody in the West beating them. Let's see them make it against Brooklyn.
Hey, I got Brooklyn winning it all. I don't know if you heard. I said a couple weeks ago, bro. I don't know.
It's hard for me to say that with the defense, but I will say this. It's you looking at something different when you got, you know, KD, Kyrie, and Harden coming down, and you don't know what to do because it's like, who you gonna double? Like, you can't double, and then it's gonna be tough when you're trading. When you got LeBron trading threes with KD. I don't know who's gonna win that one, or you got Kyrie trading shots with Dennis Schroeder. Like, now, of course, you don't have a matchup, or you don't have anybody that can really stop AD, but they don't really have somebody that can stop Harden, or unless you think Morris is it, and that's, or Kuzma. That's the case. Then okay. So I think that'll be a good series though. But I just say, I think, and I said this in my last episode, if I was the Lakers, I would be trying hard as hell to get JJ Redick at the trade deadline.
I think they're gonna make some type of move. They have to. Man.
They have to. I'm not saying that they're bad, but when you're seeing the firepower that might be coming at you at the East, it's like, it's, you know.
Hey man, listen, I said this a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna say it again, bro. It's currently constructed, bro. Barring anything, bro. If the Lakers don't make a move, if somebody doesn't make a move that helps them significantly, bro, Brooklyn's winning it all.
Yeah. Kevin
Durant is LeBron's kryptonite.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving and James Harden are peer hoopers. Basketball, they treat, bro. Basketball is Kyrie's part-time job, bro. Yeah. Like the way he treats it, bro. And it's scary, bro. They play basketball like it's pickup. I know the defense, that is a little bit of a concern, bro. But all they need, I mean, hell, look who their coach and their assistant coach is, Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni. But all they need to do is get timely stops. And that's all you really need.
As we saw in the championship against the Heat, the reason why the Heat lost because they couldn't keep up scoring with the Lakers. Mm-hmm. That's not the case when you talk about Brooklyn. So, you know, we didn't talk about Joe Harris. We didn't talk about Landry Shamet. Like, that's a squad over there, man.
Yeah, man, they go deep, man. But I wanted to end off. I just wanted to ask you, man. Who I know you said a couple of weeks ago, man. I think you said. You just telling people who's your MVP as of right now. The season gonna stop today. Who's your MVP?
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I had Jokic. But he's
having a phenomenal year.
Having a great year. But I can't sit back and see what I'm seeing from Joel Embiid and not put him.
Yeah, Joel Embiid is my MVP as well, man.
I knew he was good. I knew that it was good when they got Doc Rivers, but I didn't think that they would. When I say they, I mean Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. I didn't think that they could play this well together.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And we've talked about time and time again, when they occupy the same part of the floor, I didn't think that they would be this good. And I think a lot of that is due to the improvement Joel Embiid. Like, Joel Embiid is a walking 30-point a game scorer.
He's a walking 30 and 12.
And he's not even a good 3-point shooter. So right now, my MVP is Joel Embiid. And honestly, I think it's kind of comfortable. It's a comfortable lead in my opinion.
I was going to say, I don't think it's close.
Yeah, I don't think it's close. Of course, I think my top three, well, before KD was out, my top three would be Jokic and KD. Of course, you have LeBron James is vying for the third. Damian Lillard Steph Curry.
Yeah,
But
Harden balling too.
right now, to me, it's one and then a comfortable margin, then two. And my MVP right now is Joel Embiid.
For sure, man. Yeah, the Sixers. I like the Sixers roster, man, because the Lakers we played them a couple of maybe like 3 weeks ago, close to a month. We played them, and I knew the Sixers were gonna win, and I'd be betting on the games too. I knew the Sixers were gonna win. They match up really well with the Lakers. They have a nice roster. Like they added Danny Green, they added Steph Curry, Shake Milton. He just came back from injury, but he's come on. Yeah. They got Matisse Thybulle. They have a really nice team as a whole, man. As a whole, but I think that's it, man. We talked about some good stuff, man. We talked about some local stuff, man. Anything else you want to talk about, bro? Yeah. You might get so feel free, man. Shoot.
Last thing, I just want your thoughts. Do you think Houston should have retired James Harden jersey?
It's hard to say no because he's the second best player they ever had in franchise history. I'll say first is Akeem Olajuwon, but he's I think easily. And I'm saying as far as the productivity, obviously they had Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming, but James Harden was durable. He was durable. He won an MVP. Tracy McGrady never even got out in the first round. So James Harden, and James Harden got to a couple conference finals, or I know at least the 2018 one.
Yeah, he went to a couple because remember,
so it's a couple. Yeah,
so it's Golden State when the White team.
Yeah, so a couple of conference finals. I think he's second behind Akeem Olajuwon in scoring. Yeah, so I mean he's done a lot. I mean that's the second best player they had in franchise history. So I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people are kind of like iffy about it, I guess, because the way he exited Houston. So people are pausing, but yeah, I think he deserves it though.
I do too. I think people are actually more wary at the fact that he didn't win a championship, and the fact that a lot of the reasons why he didn't win a championship wasn't necessarily because the team just wasn't good. Like they had opportunities.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, he's probably arguably the second best player that they've ever had. You can kind of argue first if you're really talking about.
Yeah, you can. You definitely can.
And I think he overachieved what they thought they would get from him when they.
Yeah, I don't think anybody thought James Harden was going to evolve into a superstar.
I don't think anyone thought. I don't think the Rockets thought when they were getting a future MVP. When they made that trade. In fact, honestly, while he was to get, it was more of a salary dump because they weren't trying to pay Lamb or Martin. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that he's done everything outside of winning a championship, and he most definitely deserves his little number retired in the rafters. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. Good stuff, man. We got a lot of stuff coming up. March Madness is here. I know you're a big North Carolina fan.
Hey, look, it's been a down year. All
right. I like Duke, so I know ACC has been terrible as a whole, man. Outside of Florida State, for real, who North Carolina just beat, but ACC hasn't been. I mean, you got UVH too still, but the Big Ten is the conference this year. The Big Ten has been it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you talked about this a little bit, and I talked about this on my last episode. It's kind of hard to pick a sleeper because you like 1 minute you see Texas Tech looks good, and then they get smacked by Texas. And then
I thought Michigan was head and shoulders above everybody, and they got blown out last night.
And then I think I was like, all right, cool. Well, Baylor and Kansas Baylor and Gonzaga is in a league of their own, and Baylor loses badly. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, and they were just in a dogfight like last night. So I don't know what's going on, man. College basketball, I don't know what's going on. Shouts out to all the athletes that are playing through a panoramic, but it's just it's kind of hard to. I don't know, man. I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, and shouts out to Juwan Howard.
Shout out to Juwan Howard, man. He's been great, man, with Michigan, man. He's been great.
Yeah.
He's been great. Other than last night, he's been terrific.
Yeah.
He's been terrific, man. But yeah.
I think that was a fatigue thing. It's kind of hard beating a team. I can say from experience. It's kind of hard beating a team twice in a span of 2 weeks. especially a team as good as Illinois is. So
Yeah, Illinois has been great this year, man. I like you said, man. I don't know who's gonna win it all. It's whoever gets hot is gonna win it all. Because you know how the tournament is. When a team or a player gets hot, that's literally how the tournament goes. It literally goes that way. So we'll see, man. I'm excited, man. I'm glad March Madness is back. I'm glad we're gonna get a tournament because we were robbed of that last year because of the pandemic. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited for what's to come. All-Star Weekend will be here this weekend, so it's good stuff, man. I'm so glad you came on, bro. It's been a minute. It's been well overdue, man. We definitely gotta keep you in here consistently, man. I know I really just been collabing with my guy B Jones the past couple of collabs, but
been good
I gotta mix it up, man.
I appreciate. I definitely appreciate the invitation, man. Anytime I'm available, anytime you want to come on the Unpopular Podcast, you're most definitely welcome. There's definitely an open invitation for you, and I appreciate. I definitely appreciate you thinking about me because I'm just a dude down the street. You know what I mean?
For sure, man. I bumped your episode. Like, nah, bro, we gotta. Because I be bumping your stuff. I was like, nah, bro, we got to collab. And then it clicked. I said, man, I got 2 days off in the middle of the week, man. I'm sure he'll be available for at least one of them. We could do it, man. So I'm glad you had the free time, man. God willing, man, everything fell into place.
Like I said, anytime you're trying to hop on the Unpopular Pod, get some unpopular opinions about sports, just let me know, and it's definitely welcome, bro.
For sure, man. Just hit me up, man. I'm definitely down, man, to come and drop some gems, man. Just come and chat, man. It's always great to chop it up with you because we talk about sports every day. So it's in us, bro. It's our life, man. So,
yeah, that's how it is.
Man. Hopefully we make it big because we be putting in the work, man. We be putting in the work, man. But shout out to the fans, man. Shout out to your audience, my audience, man. We really appreciate you guys' support, man. So we're nothing without you guys, man. But we just a couple of guys, just a couple of young guys, young black brothers chasing our dreams, going after our passion, man. That's what we do, man.
Appreciate the fans, man.
Sure.
All 6 of them that I have, I appreciate.
For sure. I know exactly how you feel, bro. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know exactly who y'all are, man.
Appreciate y'all to the fullest, man.
But for my audience, man, this wraps up another episode, man. Really, really good episode, man. I'm your host. I'm your guy, Mike Curry. I am signing out, man. Episode number 159 is done. Peace out, you guys. Till the next episode, man. Peace.
Much love.